Hello, um, my name is Maxwell Weisel, and my presentation is on fans. The purpose of a fan is to circulate air through the surrounding environment. They are used in a variety of applications, but the main, most common applications include ventilation, heating and cooling, usually either for a person or an electronic system like a computer, and to improve air quality and purity by removing stagnant air or fumes from the environment. The purpose Fans are made out of a very simple set of parts. Generally, a fan will be made out of a set of blades, an intermediate shaft, and a motor. But because there are so many fans around, there are fans absolutely everywhere. There are all kinds of variations. So a fan could have belts, pulleys. Most fans also have safety guards, which prevents a person from getting in the way of the big sharp blades. And they may have accessory motors or other lights or air purifiers or other things integrated into the fan. Fans are incredibly old. They're almost as old as human civilization itself. The first fans date back as far back as 4000 BCE to the ancient Egyptians. Unlike modern fans, which use electrical power to spin a set of blades, they relied entirely on human manpower to operate. You would typically have, for the ancient Egyptians, you would typically have a servant who would fan a member of the royalty or the high, or like a high priest or whatever, with a palm frond or palm leaves or ostrich feathers or other similar just natural materials found from the environment or traded for surrounding civilizations. There were more valuable fans in ancient Egypt that were constructed that were primarily made out of gold and jewels, but these were not likely not actually used as fans. Rather, they were ornamental in their purpose. They were there for burial. You would bury a pharaoh with a big fan to prepare him for his journey into the afterlife, for instance. Then the first real innovation in fan technology occurred around 600 AD in East Asia, with the folding fan and the rigid fan. Both of these fans kind of naturally grew due to the cultural and technological exchange between China, Korea, Japan, and Africa. Um, Unlike the Egyptian palm fronds and the feathers, these fans were much more compact. They were made from paste paper, which the Chinese made, and wood, and occasionally leaves still. But most of them were made out of paper and wood. Unlike the Egyptian fans, these fans could be operated with a single hand, and also but similar to the Egyptian fan, these were still reserved for nobility and royalty. In China, that would typically be like a noble or a scholar, and in Japan, that was usually reserved for the emperor and the shogunate. So think like samurai and other high-ranking Japanese officials. The first modern electrical fan that we recognize today was invented in the year 1882 by Schuyler Scotts Wheeler, or Dr. Schuyler Scotts Wheeler. This fan, unlike the modern fans of today, was entirely manufactured out of heavy metals. So that would be cast iron, brass, and copper for the electrical components. It was driven by a small, simple electric DC motor, and it was manufactured using a mix of casting, traditional metalworking techniques, what we might call blacksmithing today, early machining, thanks to the Industrial Revolution and, electrical winding by hand. Gradually, after the invention of the fan, it continued to evolve over time from the late 1800s through the 1900s. Um, some examples of innovations over time include the introduction of the first ceiling mounted fans shortly after the first desktop fan, invented in 1882. The first fans that could utilize alternating current power in the 1890s. The first overlapping blade designs in the 1920s, which is one of the first attempts to reduce the noise created by the fans. The introduction of plastic into fans in the 1930s, and the optimization of the mathematical optimization of fan blade aerodynamics, and the popularization of not just the plastic outer components, but the plastic internal components in the 1950s, which drew from improvements in aerodynamics made in both World War I and World War II, originally used on our aircraft and propeller designs. The next major innovations in fan technology occurred in the 1990s with two. First, the first HVLS fans emerged in the 1990s, thanks to companies like Macro Air and Big Ass Fans, which popularized them after their invention by the University of California, Riverside. Unlike a conventional fan used in a home or by the typical consumers, HVLS fans, or high volume, low speed fans, utilize a huge surface area and low speed to gently circulate large amounts of air through an industrial environment. Thanks to their manufacturing using aluminum alloys, plastics, and composites, they are much more energy efficient than a typical consumer fan. To manufacture an HVLS fan involves machining, forging, injection molding, and injection molding. Another major role that fans played in the 90s was that they became essential for cooling computer CPUs and GPUs. CPUs are like the brain of the computer, doing all the complex math and calculations. When you use something like CFD or FEA, you're typically utilizing the CPU more, while GPUs are responsible for graphics and colors and rendering. You can kind of think of it as like the eyes of the computer. Fans became important in both of these, as they allowed for heat to be dissipated, which improved performance, prevented damage, and just extended the lifespan of both of these components. These these fans were manufactured using injection molding and machining, and are often integrated directly into the hardware, at least on GPUs anyway. Fans have and will continue to improve over time. Today, newer, modern fans continue to build out IoT capabilities, or Internet of Things functionality. IoT is generally the technological trend of integrating apps and remotes and other software controlled things to allow control of the device from a distance without the need for an electrical switch. Another thing that will continue to improve is that motors will continue to get more efficient and quieter over time, meaning that the fan will spin faster and make less noise. Fan blades have also continued to be optimized over time, allowing for the fan to operate more efficiently and to put less strain on the internal components, as now the fan slices through the air in a more efficient manner. Also, that makes it quieter. Thank you for watching.